My name is Bushra Fakhoury. I'm an expressionist figurative sculptor. I was born in Lebanon. Went to Ivory Coast in Abidjan, where I learned my first language, which was French. And then I came back to France, and then Lebanon. In Lebanon, my parents put me in boarding school in a convent because the weather in Abidjan didn't suit me. And I was fortunate because the nuns there, they taught me how to use marzipan. Of course, they will sell the marzipan, but I took the benefit of doing, getting to know how to do flowers and small animals. And from then on, I got hooked. I fell in love with sculpture, and I noticed that I can do a lot of things, using my fingers, using the clay, which later on, I went to English school. I did elementary and secondary in British school in Lebanon. I did a lot of sculpture there, and then I continued 2 years of business studies to fall on it in case I don't make it in art. And after I graduated, I decided to continue to do my BA in art. I moved from boarding school to day school, and I used to see my cousin. I had artists from both sides of my family. My father's side, he had a first cousin that she won the UNESCO prize, and she did a lot of sculpture and paintings, and I used to be mesmerized by her work. Unbelievable. I used to close my eyes and touch as if I was blind, to touch the work. And this is how it taught me from then to see the form, not only as a picture at 2-dimensional, but 3-dimensional. And my mother's side, her uncle also was a painter, and he stayed in Syria. And since then, you become addicted to it. It's within you. You can't help but. I used to carve soap. If I had a soap or piece of wood, anything that I could put my hand on it, I used to carve it. Mainly, I concentrated on the art professionally. It's when I started my BA in art. And we had an exhibition there, and the result was very, very encouraging. The teachers were very impressed, which it gave me a push, it gave me a bit of confidence. So that was my childhood, and because I was encouraged by my parents, My mother, when I was 3 years old, she knitted for me a hat of a doctor because she couldn't herself go to university, and she kept bombarding me every time, study, study, study. So that's what encouraged me later on to continue my education. After my secondary school, I got married, and instead of getting a diamond or a wedding, I asked my husband if I can continue, and he said willingly, yes, of course. He was very encouraging, which was a blessing. So I went and I did my 2 years of business studies, because you never know, I can always rely on business in case art wasn't successful. And then after I got my degree in business, then I decided to go into what I really love to do, and it's art. And I took my BA in art in Lebanon. At college, we used to have my teacher, Mahrangiz Irani. She was very encouraging, and it opened up for me the knowledge of other artists, which at home I didn't have a library. But there I had ample, vast knowledge to drink from. And working with other students, the encouraging of the art of the teacher, it was fantastic. It kept me going, and she always gave me compliments. I did my teaching diploma, and after the teaching diploma, as a base for teaching in the future, in case, I went into my master's degree in art education. After the Ministry of Education sent me to London, and I got a scholarship for filming with British Council. I was the 15th student, 14 of them were from the developing countries. And I mothered them all because I was the oldest there, so I did well. And my tutor wanted to take me with him to work with him, but I had the boys, my children, and I wanted to stay near my children. At the Ministry of Education, I was in charge for the art department. Bushra Fakhoury was in charge of the whole department of the education, and Maurice Marouf and Naji Marouf were in theater, and Laila Estefan was also in music with Bushra Fakhoury, the composer. So there my duty was to review the books before they printed. I went on my own account to the States to get the latest audiovisual material to implement it. And also I've done a few booklets, on the curriculum of what teachers should do and how they have to do seminars. As a basis, you always have to work with clay or the papier-mâché or the plaster, but then how to cast it. Why do we cast it in bronze? Because galleries prefer the work to be in bronze, and people also, they think because bronze is valuable, But resin is much cheaper, and it lasts a long time. Personally, I do them in ceramics, and then when I choose one of them, I make it on big scale, because I don't do sketches. I do sketches on my mind, and then I do them small, like a small figurine like that, and later on I make it bigger. I've done this piece. I was lucky that Westminster in London, they've chosen that one, and now it's 9 meters in Park Lane. I was really lucky that they've chosen this piece because it's controversial, and it speaks about the traits that we have with the elephants, like family ties, solidarity, empathy, and the memory of the elephant. That's why we have to keep remembering what's essential in life and work persistently to reach our goal. And I've put the elephant on the hand, to make it kind of priority, elevated, because of the trait that he has. It's the impossible be possible. That's what I always say. There is nothing impossible in life if you really aim for it and you always aim high. There are different kinds of approaching art and sculpture. There is a very realistic sculpture, which is very smooth surface, and the expressionist sculptor is to exaggerate the features and to exaggerate the movement and the attitude of the person, so you can grasp the characteristics, Like this one here, it's Charlie Chaplin. I did 2 Charlie Chaplin. I went to Vevey, and they were filming Chaplin there, Edinburgh. And I saw the Chaplin. I said, "Oh, it doesn't have a character. Let me see. Let me do one with a character." So I did this one, and I did another one. So he chose the one that's in my studio. And this is plasticine. This is not clay. And plasticine can stay forever. It doesn't dry like clay. With that, it's not easy to make marks, like expression mark, like here, The way my finger works. My finger works on the sculpture. With this, it's a bit harder. Sometimes I pick up things from market and I weld them, and sometimes I pick up things like that and I do molds of it, I found it very beautiful, this piece here. Here. I could make it a boat, or I can use it like that and make spikes with ants or children or whatever. But whatever good we are, we can't compete with God's creation, God's creation is fantastic. And I do rely a lot on nature, and I love nature. So I made a mold of a leaf that I've done. This leaf from the wax, I poured the wax here. The wax, I took it to the foundry, and I have it in bronze now. You can see it later on. I've started on this one with the styrofoam, bubbles. It's called it like spermatozoa, but I'm having difficulty in keeping the bubbles, because if I want to make a mold of this, I have to put rubber on it, and to put rubber on it, it might take these out, So I want to see what I can do with it. But I thought it's just, it's so fluffy, like snow, which I thought it's nice, This one This one is the cry of Lebanon. You know, صرخة لبنان. Anyway, really figurative sculpture, people are imitating, you know, they don't care about, unfortunately we don't have copyrights in art, so that's why I moved from clay, not completely, but sideway, to do welding. I pick up things like this from markets, bits and pieces, or things like this, which is from the reject of other people. I do sculptures, and most of my sculpture, they have, I want them to be beautiful, and not only beautiful, to have a message. So, and I can show you samples of what I've done in my gallery. All these bits and pieces that I find in the market, like, you know, this is talking about the fragility of life. Even if you're a king, you know, in time or war, you die. That's why it's called vita, like life, you know. And I got this on its own. I welded more, you know, watches. And this was a lighter, so I took the lighter out and I put sand in it, and I love it. That's another one, like for instance, I found this lock here. They are getting rare now. For me, it represents, you know, the eyes, the mouth here, and the ears. I put the earrings. And what I'm saying here, you know, the tongue here, what I'm saying here is that each one of us has a tiny weeny secret in the back of his head, nobody knows. Even if you have to unlock, use so many keys, you still can't get to it, you know. You can take it with you to the grave. I've made this piece here on a ladder that in life you reach the top. Every day, you know, you make an effort to reach what you reach. And, you know, unity and solidarity makes the force, you know. I called it Eureka. So when you reach the up, you know, you say, hooray, you know, we've reached it. We've reached the top of our goal. It was influenced by Cirque du Soleil. And I thought it's a fun piece. This horse is Quranic. The stables of His Majesty, the King of Saudi Arabia, there was a competition to do a horse, his famous horse called Quranic. So I've done this horse and I've sent it to the stables of the King's stables, but I've never heard anything. Another piece that I'm now venturing in is stainless steel. Stainless steel has to be really very smooth, you know. So it's the first time I do something very smooth, because my work is really expressionist and it's always rough. I've done smooth here and smooth here. So I thought it really represents a stylistic head of a horse. This could be really on big scale. I intend to do it on big scale, like 4 meter by 2 meter or something like that. It will look lovely. This piece was submitted for a Jersey competition for the airport in Jersey, and I call it Takeoff because it just takes off with the plane, you know, like people going with a bird. And I got, you know, I was chosen among 3 of them, but unfortunately they didn't choose mine because it was supposed to be 15 meter, and they were going to use titanium. Titanium is very expensive, so they chose another artist that used a swirl, you know, of stone and glass, stone and glass, representing earth and water. So mine now, I'm trying to find another place for it, another home. This sculpture, it's Noah's Ark. I've included female, male, and animals. And when you take these out here, each piece becomes a sculpture on its own. Like this one, for instance, you know. You can imagine this, you know, 6 meter high or 4 meter high. It's really good, I think. Or, you know, even this one, this. It could be also a piece on its own, a sculpture on its own. I intended to do these really on very big scale. It's made of bronze, but really the intention of it is it's made of separate pieces on their own merit, you know. And then when put together like a jigsaw puzzle, it forms one sculpture. This one here, it's influenced by Africa because I've stayed on and off in Africa for 9 years in Kenya. And this is the Kudu Horn, what the African use to communicate each other from one village to the other. And for them it's very important. They still don't have the mobile like we do. That's why I've put it also in an upper, you know, important position, and I've made them carry the horn. These pointed hats, they're influenced from the Phoenicians' sculptures. You can see them in the Mary's procession in Spain. You can see them in dance of Turkish dervishes. For me, they represent the mind, you know. As they say in English, I'm putting my thinking hat on. I went to Africa at the beginning as a tourist, but then I was very intrigued by their herbal medicine. And when I started going from one village to the other, I came in touch with the first time with real poverty, but real love. People there, they are very intuitive, they love colors, they're creative, and they're so generous. Even if they have one cow or one goat, they will slaughter it for you, you know? It's really fantastic. So I really felt like putting my herbal medicine book, because I wanted to do a book on herbal medicine, and helping them. So I started to help them, going also from one village to the other, picking up children that they thought they were a curse from God because they were blind or handicapped. So we got all these children, and we managed to fund a school for them. And it was very rewarding, very, very rewarding. It's lovely. So I really, Africa gave me in touch with nature, with the freedom, with my love to elephants, my love to animals, and it enriched my life, you know. The best moment of my life is the 9 years I spent on and off in Africa. My love to animals is their connection with the people, with the locals. You know, sometimes a bird will come to one of the warriors, and he will tweet, tweet, and he will lead him to a tree where there's honey. So the warriors will take the honey and they will leave some for the birds. They're very intuitive, and relationship between them and the animals is fantastic. The animals, they only kill for food. Unfortunately, humans, they kill for greed. So this is what's very touchy until now, you know. This sculpture here is Dance Gwenadour, influenced from the dance of Boulay, a village in France. And usually in summer, 2 of them only flip in the air, but here I've made 3 of them flip in the air. And I've submitted this to a competition in Torpedo Fine Art Foundry in Washington, D.C., and it took a prize. I have few pieces of these balls, you know, this huge chunk of tree, you know. And for me, it means a lot. It talks to me as if they're the beginning of the earth, when it was still on one piece before it attracted other element to it. But what gives me an idea of putting here roots coming from here, you know, because this is how life started, with roots here and going up. And it will be brass, colored leaves and flowers. So it's a kind of the earth and the beginning of life. This one is also called leap of faith. That sometimes we have to take a challenge. It's not, we don't have always to take a safe route. Sometimes we leap into the future, and it depends. If you're lucky, we make it, or else we don't make it. You know, you go up the stairs and you leap towards the infinite, towards your aim and goal in your life. That's why I called it leap of faith. I also do commissions of heads, of portraits. That one is Stanislaw Frankel, he's my tutor. He had a great influence on me working in sculpture, and also influenced my son. He's a Polish artist. His work is in Krakow Museum. He's a well-known artist. And he taught me a lot about form and about how important the light hits the surface, and that you have to always exaggerate the form, you know, to make a point. He played a big role in my life artistically, Stanislaw Frankel. Here, I have the leaf that I spoke about in my studio. I showed it to you in wax. I've made it in bronze, and I've put these balls here. They represent tears, so it's called teardrops, because everything alive in this world, you know, have feelings, and we cut this off the tree, and it's crying. So it's called teardrops. So this is one of my stylized works. You know, it has an expression in what it is, but it's completely different. And I do thank you so much for coming over. And hopefully I'll see you more in the future for more work. Thank you.